Hello and welcome to Three Dudes and a Lady. Join us for a little inspiration, a little motivation, and perhaps a way to start your day. I am Mike Jones from Virginia. My gratitude this morning is for neighbors and the good deeds that we do for each other.
Very well. Hey, good morning, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. My name is Earl. I live in North Carolina, and my gratitude for today is actually being a part of a new men's fellowship group with my church, which started last night. And I have to tell you, I felt very inspired in being around people who I now call my new friends.
Well, that's awesome, Earl. Good morning, everyone. My name is Jay Anderson. I'm from the wonderful state of West Virginia. My gratitude today is the sun. The sun is warming us up. Snow and ice are melting.
Nice. I am Christine Wright, hailing out of the great state of Florida. And my gratitude is the gang's back together. All four of us are on here today. There's been a couple days where we weren't all on, so grateful for that. Thanks, guys, for showing up. So today, Jay Shetty talked about checking our ego, right? One moment, our ego's telling us how incredible we are, and then the next minute, you're being told that you're no better than dirt, right? We've all probably been there at some point. But how do you keep it in check? He was talking about when he was a monk, they gave him two things to remember and two things to forget. So, two things to remember are the ways that we have disappointed or hurt others, and then also remembering the good that others have done for us, right? And then the two that we're supposed to forget are forget what we have done for others and forget any disappointment or grievances done by other people. Because a lot of times those two things either spike our ego, or if we don't forget the disappointment or grievances done by other people, guess what? Then we're all of a sudden in this, we're not really forgiving people, right? So, and it also gives us a view of who we are. Just a reminder that we are not perfect. And what can we do to work on our ego to keep it in check? What do you guys think about this? Like, I don't think I've ever thought about it as far as like remembering what people have done for us, forgetting what we did for others. I get it. I get it a lot because like if we're all of a sudden, a lot of times if we remember the stuff that we've done for others, it becomes like it fills our ego, right? And then it becomes a self-centric thing where we're um happy-go-lucky that we did this, right? Look what I did. Look what I did, right? What do you guys
I,
think? Go ahead, Errol.
I think as human beings, sometimes our egos sometimes get the best of us when we least expect it. But here's the thing. If you think about people that we are around that cause our egos to go where they are, I think it's best to find the path that's going to be a better fit for us. Try to put the past behind us and get on the new path that we need to be on. Because sometimes you could try to ask forgiveness from the people from the past and see if that helps. If it doesn't, then you need to reconnect with yourself to just listen. Life is short. You need to create that new path that's going to be a good, better fit for you.
Mike, Jay.
Mike's, go for it, Mike.
I do things for my neighbors that I don't expect a reward for, and inevitably the next neighbor next door to me will give me something for shoveling their snow or whatever. And you know, I don't expect it, and I guess I've gotten used to it, but if it stopped, I'd probably be more grateful that they didn't do it. But on the other hand, I grew up in a household where there was a lot of ego and a lot of times there was victim mentality too, and the person would get upset because people didn't do things for her, and but she had forgotten what she had done to them.
Yeah.
I
And
mean, You don't want to visit somebody who's always negative, right? Even if they are sick.
Facts. Yeah, and like if you grew like I grew up in a house full of extroverted pioneers. Like there's seven kids, and out of the seven, I am the only introvert, and I'm the only one that's not a pioneer. I am a pioneer, but a second voice. They're all first voice pioneers. So luckily, I have a second voice pioneer in me because if not, it would have been a lot more difficult, right? Because not to say that all pioneers have egos, but a lot of times they do. Like it's just the way their nature is, right? They're because they think they know everything, and there's no other better way to do it except for their way, right? So you kind of have to let them fall first and then get back up and then try to help them along the way, right?
But you can do it without saying, I told you so.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's the part that they're saying that you should let go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you don't want to go down that rabbit hole, right? Of I told you so.
Uh, Man, it's hard not to, though.
Yeah.
I tell you what, so Christine, question. You were in the car business, you were in management. Uh, Tell me about your ego. You were a finance manager for a long time. You excelled with it. As you excelled and as you did well with it, did that ego get bigger?
Oh, for sure. And when you're in an environment like a high pressure sales environment, I almost think that your ego gets exploded all the time, right? All the time, right? Like you are just in an egotistical environment. And you're right. Like as we grow into that, and it could be any kind of sales environment, I think. As you grow into it, like all of a sudden you become more egotistical, right? You're selling things, you're like, oh, I got this. Like, and all of a sudden that confidence, you become overconfident and overinflated. And then what happens? Yeah. Jay, how about your ego when you were in the car
Oh,
business?
nothing like getting your ass handed to you on a daily basis. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's uh, phew, man, I tell you, and we've talked about this at length amongst our group. I've never hidden the fact that I felt like my ego was huge at one time, and I still believe that. Uh, I don't even know that you could say this, but I had an ego with compassion. I was very compassionate though. Uh, but I will tell you, I'm sitting here thinking back and looking at those days and saying, I wasn't really willing to listen to other people's advice, particularly if I felt like if I was the manager and a salesperson came to me and said, "What if we do this, 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 this?" I wasn't willing. I always had reasons why. And even though most of those reasons were bullshit, I still had reasons to back up and fire down. And to me, that's very egotistical of whatever. The compassion side, every day. Oh, and I thank you guys every time too, because I've always thanked people for their day, their hard work. I feel that that's something that's important. It's important for me to say that because I do mean that. So there was a hint of compassion. That component did exist, but as you kept getting promoted and more responsibilities, those promotions and responsibilities, that ego just kept going. And to be able to put it in check, sometimes it's kind of hard because you don't see that necessarily as the individual. Crazy part is everyone else around you sees it, and behind your back, you are the biggest SOB that's ever walked the planet. So it's it's a tough thing.
Yeah.
I know when I came into this business, into the life insurance business, I thought I was going to kick this thing sideways and excel, excel, excel from the word go. I got humbled and being knocked off of that podium or the legs taken out from underneath you sometimes can be the best thing that has ever happened to you. To me, I felt like it was a life altering change for myself as an individual. I think it gave me the ability to open my mind and learn because an egotistical person, they don't care about learning. Why? Because they already know everything. Me, on the other hand, now I'm like, I'm a sponge. I like to ask questions. I will take all of us down a rabbit hole just to hear answers on questions that mean nothing to what we're doing. We had that conversation before we started this show today. So I get it.
For
And,
sure.
and I think in this business, Jay, I think you'll agree with me that when you go into this business, I don't care what background you come from, it will challenge you to put your ego in your back pocket to be more. I want to use the word fruitful. That's the first thing that's coming to my head, but I don't know if that's the right terminology for this. But it's to be more willing to accept. You have to be more knowledgeable or to accept the knowledge that's given to you to learn more about yourself, but how we're doing our business. Because if you can't accept that, it's going to be very difficult for you to make it in this business. Yeah,
I think that's strong in just about self-employment across the board, what you just said, or
right,
I think it
exactly.
applies to that. But you
And
know
people
what?
who,
Go ahead,
I'm,
go ahead.
no, I was going to say for people who come from a W-2 position, from a different walk of life, if you will. They walk into this when they see the opportunity of what we're going to do here and how we need to structure ourselves, whether it's schedule, self-development, learning, all that into one. And they're like, okay, what do I do now? Oh, gee, am I fit for this? That it hits them like a brick wall. Some people can handle it better than others. But the thing is, are we putting our ego where it needs to be? Are we asking for help when it's necessary?
So
Because go ahead.
Earl, you hit it right there. Go back to what you just said. Let's talk about the ego, the word ego. Are we
Yeah.
using ego to be the right thing? And
Hmm.
Earl, you're so spot on. Listen, there's a difference between being egotistical and there's a difference between being strong and confident. And th that is that is almost impossible for your own self to distinguish at times. Sometimes it has to be pointed out. And what you're saying right there, Earl, is so pivotal in this whole conversation because that's exactly what it is that needs to be distinguished. We have always been told if we're in sales or in business, you have to be strong and you have to show confidence. Okay.
Right. And Jay, you just put on something important that just put a lightning bolt in my head. If we put our egos down, if we're willing to put our egos, I like to use the word back pocket. If we put our egos in the back pocket and help build our confidence, it can have a light at the end of the tunnel. But the thing is, not everyone's willing to accept it. See, that's a challenge for a lot of people, especially in the business world.
So I wrote let's go straight to what you just said because I wrote a couple of things down
Yep,
um, that fits this, what you're just talking about, putting that
yep,
ego in the back pocket. And I wrote down the goal should always be to move forward.
right,
Okay. That was said. Then the key and the difference between being egotistical and confident and strong, are you open to receive generosity and help? I think that kind of defines the difference between the two in this conversation. I'm sure there's more words that you can use and components to that, but those are
right.
two heavy ingredients in what separates this.
Well, don't you think
And
that the strong and confidence comes from, remember how Jay was talking about the two things to remember and the two things to forget? I think our strength and our confidence comes in those forms, right? If we're willing to remember the things others have done for us. And what was the other one? Sorry, I forgot. But okay, so if we remember the two things and we forget the two things, I think that's where our strength and our confidence is going to come from, for sure.
It's been said before, Christine. No two people are alike. Some people can build on that. Others have to take two steps back and realize, okay, what did I do wrong? I need to either rebuild myself or hit the reset button, and then their ego comes out.
I don't know if I'm right about this, but my thought is that confidence attracts, ego repels.
Opposites attract and ego's what?
Confidence attracts,
Oh, confidence. Yeah.
ego repels.
Repels.
Okay,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Spot
I
on.
agree.
Because it does. Think about it. Like if you meet somebody who's confident and strong, you're all of a sudden like you want to talk to that person. But if you meet somebody who's egotistical, there's a difference. There's a huge difference, right?
Mhm.
Because egotistical people are more about themselves. Like they're a lot of it's inner world.
And Christine, in this business, I think clients, especially for those of us who face clients face to face or even virtually, sometimes they could spot that within the first couple of minutes if somebody's all in their head and think they know everything, as opposed to somebody who has the confidence but will ask the questions to help with what the client's needs. That confidence you can hear from them, because if a client can feel on that, then the client feels a little better. But if you got somebody that's all in their head, the client's going to put this big wall around them saying, I'm not so sure about this person. I may need a second opinion. So I think that's very key to important. And this could go for any career or any, like if you're going to see a doctor, if you feel that doctor stuck up on his head, sometimes, as opposed to a different kind of doctor who's more compassionate to your understanding, to your needs, then, two different levels there. Does that make sense, guys?
Oh, for sure. Like,
It
I
does.
give you an example. Like my daughter's therapist, like my 14-year-old daughter has a therapist. And she's been seeing this therapist for 4 months now. Her therapist is amazing. Like she gets on Emma's level. Like she's really working with this kid, right, to help her. She unfortunately was diagnosed with autism later on, like a year ago, and it's been a battle. Sorry.
You got this. You got this.
Got
But
this, Kristen.
her psychiatrist is not like it's somebody that not good for her. And I think a lot of it has to do with being ego, right? Like she did not want to get on Emma's level. Emma had to get on her level, and it was just like a battle. And so finally we got her a new one just like recently, like within the last week. But a lot like so I look at her therapist as like she doesn't have an ego, right? She's confident in what she does and knows that she can help Emma, where her psychiatrist was like basically like this is how it's going to be, this is what you're going to do. And you tell a 14-year-old girl that who has all this stuff going on in her mind, she's not going to listen. She shut down on her. Like, and she had this therapist, she went to her for like 5 sessions. And she was like, I don't want to see this girl anymore. Like she does not want her, she doesn't want to be involved with her. So she was just like, she wouldn't take the meds, she wouldn't do the work. She was like shut down. And I think a lot of that is the confident therapist, she was willing to work with her, right? But the other therapist had an ego and she didn't want anything to do with it.
You
So,
know,
I mean, I definitely think that comes in different forms, right?
oh gosh.
Yeah.
First, let me say this, Christina. It's powerful what you shared, because I think all of us that is a great point that we have to learn from. And you chose to take a very personal situation and expose it for us to see something in its purest act, and it's active. And so the good news for you, young lady, is you got three guys that love the heck out of you, and we back you 24/7. The the great news is it sounds like your daughter has finally found someone because it is, wouldn't you shut down even just in a normal range of things when you're being told all the time you will do this, do this, do this, do this, do this? Listen, my ego's I don't think my back pocket was ever big enough for my ego rule, Earl rule. I think that was just a little small space for me.
Mhm.
I think it could pop back out. I think it's something that because I did it for so long, I think it's a constant reminder that I have to practice this on a daily basis. Muscle memory. You have to continue to practice this. You have to continue to learn this. And Earl, you hit so many points on you just hit a lot of points in the way that you worded it. And then Mike Jones comes in with the daggone mic drop. And then we got the bomb. We got to witness what it really looked like in live action. And man, folks, this is awesome. Guys, speak.
So here's uh here's something interesting about that. My oldest brother just had his 69th birthday. Is autistic. It wasn't diagnosed as that. They put the in the 60s they just put the mentally retarded label on him. And this is I don't know if you can see this. This is one of the cards I received from him recently.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He learned to write what I learned to write or print, but my mother always thought it had to be something else. He fell off my grandmother's porch when he was a toddler, and she always blamed my grandmother because her ego wouldn't allow her to accept that it wasn't that. It was just
Right.
what?
Well, and I
Yeah.
think
We
This,
don't know. Genetics.
yeah, and I think as a
Yeah.
parent, when you're going through that with your kid, the last thing you want to do is a lot of us place blame on ourselves, right? Like
Yeah.
I was there. I place blame on myself. Like I don't know what I did wrong. I don't know why this is happening. And that's why, like, when the therapist was like, no, this is what's happening with her. Like, it has nothing to do with us, right? Unless you're a terrible person and you do wrong by your child, then it's a trauma thing, right? But Emma doesn't have trauma. There's no trauma in her life. It's just one of these things, this rare thing that happens with kids sometimes, and they just can't get out, right? Like they just have to have a way out. But a lot of times our ego gets in the way and we think like, I mean, my ego was in the way, guys. Like it took me 2 months to book her an appointment because I was like, there's nothing wrong with you. You're just being a teenage kid, you know? And that's not how I took it. Like, and I even told her that I was like, I'm sorry for not doing this sooner for you because I had an ego, right? I had to admit that to her because it's her health at the end of the day,
oh,
right?
yeah. But as a parent, your child's okay.
Yeah,
You're just going through normal stuff.
yeah,
And you don't know the difference.
no,
You're not,
no,
but man, this is
yeah.
And Jay, I don't know if this resonates or not, but I wanted to just share this with you. When I went on the men's Bible study last night for my first time men's fellowship group at the church, there was about 8 of us there, and I gotta tell you, they kind of opened me up a little bit last night. And I don't think ego has anything to do with this, but I'll tell you what, for them, the one to know more about me as a person, it made me feel blessed to be with these guys and make new friends. And the guy who runs this, he said, normally when the weather's warm, I invite people to my house. We have a little cookout in the backyard, and then, we get the Bible apps. But not only the Bible is, we just talk about each other, our families. We get to know each other as person. This is our place to relax, our place to if you ever have troubles in your life or your family, we pray for you, but also, we're open to talk. There's no judgment here.
well, that, my friends, is what fellowship looks like.
That's right.
Okay. That's fellowship 101 right there. And
Yep.
and uh Earl, man, I'm proud that I can say that you're my friend and that you accept those things. No different than all of us on this
Yep.
platform. It takes courage to be able to get on a platform like this and say, hey, we'd like to share things out there. And
Hmm.
it does, you know, particularly if you're an introvert. It takes courage because there's that hurdle that you got to get over. Go ahead, Earl. You get ready to blast it, baby.
No, I was gonna say I have to admit I'm a
He's
bit
an
of an
introvert.
introvert. Yeah, that's me. So I admit it.
Well, uh, this has been loads of fun today. Thank all of us, really, because we're, again, folks that are listening in, I don't think you guys understand the true meaning of this platform that the four of us feel about. You take four vastly different individuals as ourselves, and in the normal realms of reality, if we all live locally, chances are we probably would not be friends because we never have taken the time to listen. Our would get in the way of listening. But this platform showed us how to actually set things aside, brought things to our attention that we needed. You know, Christine, you talked about your daughter. 2 years ago, you might not have been open enough to be able to push that forwards. And I do think that this platform, I'm not saying that we are the therapist within this platform. Obviously, obviously we're not. Okay. But I think it's just awesome that we can all get together and do this. And I hope viewers, when you watch this, that you get a chance to maybe create something like this for yourself. It is one of the most uh, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just that real. How do you describe it? It's the most authentic way of learning how to learn about other people and ourselves in the process. So maybe that's what it is. But anyways, I hope you join us. We listen to the app Calm on a daily basis, and we like Jay Shetty is the person that we listen to. We enjoy the content that he brings to us because he allows us to go down these rabbit holes and have fun with them. Uh, so please join us on a daily basis.
Hey, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to us. And we hope to see you all very soon. Have a great day out
Peace.
there. Peace.